Hi, this is my 2v2 Truth HCS commentary on AramisRW by AramisRW, that's me, on behalf of Vancouver Halo, this new up-and-coming organization. This is a commentary, not a guide. I make a couple mistakes throughout the game, and I'll point them out as time goes on. I just wanted to make this commentary to show you what's kind of going on in my head at certain points in the game, and as well as highlight some of the priorities that I have at that time in the game. So let's get started. For reference, this is just a solo queued match in the 2v2 playlist that is in Halo right now. I've never played with this teammate before, we're barely talking. I think at the time of this recording, I'm at Onyx 1520 or so in this playlist. Yeah, that's it. So to start off on Truth, the opening strategy is the most important because that sets a tone for the game. Notably, the camouflage is important because that's going to be on the map as well as all four of the people in the map. The best case scenario with the camouflage is that your team gets it and you also have the time on it. So the camouflage is going to respawn in the same spot every 2 minutes and it's going to last you for 45 seconds. Second best case scenario is that it's burned, and that means that neither you or the enemy team has it, and you also have the time on it. So in 2 minutes from now, you're going to be able to look at camouflage again. As we get into the lower half of scenarios, these are scenarios that aren't great. If they happen, they happen. Otherwise, it's not end of the world. This scenario starts where you know the enemy has camouflage. That you don't exactly know where they are, but you know what time it is. So if you want to be nerdy, you can count down from 45 seconds from when it was grabbed, and then find out when their camouflage is going to be burned out. You know, if you haven't killed them by then. Worse than that is you don't know who has camouflage, you don't know when it is either. So that puts you in the bad position for the next 45 seconds or so, and also in a bad position 2 minutes from now because you don't know when exactly camouflage is going to be up. Okay, so the game is going to start off, and I am on red team with my buddy Behemoth Buns. Never met him before, but we'll see what's like. So I'm going to go to pink side. I see one enemy on their side P, and I see another enemy top middle. Fortunately, my teammate and I were both shooting at the top mid guy, and we managed to kill him. And camouflage is still up, my teammate's fighting him on P1. My teammate dies, and there I go, trying to get the burn on this camouflage. So if we go back to what I said previously with that chart, the scenario that we ended up in is the second scenario. So camouflage got burned, and we have the time on it. Now, I'm getting shot from their P Street, the blue side, and that was the first teammate that we killed, the one that was on top middle previously. I'm not going to engage him. I'm just going to go to P3. I could have gone P1, P2, or P3 here. P2 or P3 is the best choice in this situation. I am covered from the enemy shooting at me from blue-pink door, and as well, I have a good overview of the rest of the map to find out where the other enemy has spawned, because I don't have that information yet. So I know one of them is their side blue, and I haven't seen the enemy yet. Oh, I actually see him now. He's on their side carbine, blue side carbine. So I'm gonna drop. Dropping isn't the best move because it looks like I left my teammate alone on P2 or P3 and he died because of that. But, you know, oh well. And unfortunately I get collapsed on P1. But what I'm gonna do with my death cam and probably call out to my teammate is I see both enemies going into blue base from blue pink. So there's two of them there, my teammate spawned on blue bubble. So my teammate knows to not push out because he's going to be in a 2v1 and he's going to wait for me to spawn right next to him. So at this point I know that both enemies are in blue too. I see one of them going towards top middle and I see the other one hasn't moved, so he's still going to be on blue 2 somewhere. My teammate's shooting the top mid guy. I'm keeping an eye out on blue side car to see if his enemy is going to charge from my side. We're going to play this out. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video here. So what you saw, you might not have heard it because I have the audio settings down on the gameplay, but the person I was fighting in blue 2, he had the plasma pistol, and the plasma pistol is a very loud weapon. So while I was car 2, I could use my headset, use my ears to find out that the enemy with the plasma pistol was going to be right underneath me. And fortunately he misses a couple shots and I ended up taking him down. At the same time, or simultaneously, the enemy teammate was also charging up from red side carbine. So he must have been car 1, he must have snuck around, and he tried to get behind my teammate and tried to kill him. The teammate ended up being in a trade, but the blue team kind of messed up there. If they had charged at the same time, they probably could have taken us both out. At this point in the game, it's only 4 kills and it's probably not a big deal, but just a note. So I'm going to grab the plasma pistol because that enemy dropped it initially. I hear a couple shots of him shooting the enemy at around pink, so I'm going to rush blue base, but unfortunately there's a guy behind me in blue base. I didn't know he was hiding there, that's kind of unfortunate. It does bring up a new topic of spawns though, that I can get into here. So spawns in Halo 5 in general are going to spawn you near a teammate, and if that isn't possible, then it's going to spawn you away from the enemy. It's either going to fulfill one of those two requirements. Truth specifically has 4 general areas based on the 4 corners of the map. There's red base and blue base, there's bottom pink, and Carbine has the 2 bubbles that it can spawn, and I think you can spawn as well Car 1. But what happened in that last situation is that my teammate spawned Carbine 1 probably, and I was also at Carbine. In theory, the enemy is going to spawn at pink because that is the furthest away from us. That is like the safest place for them to spawn. However, I made a incorrect assumption that an enemy might have gone to blue already. Maybe he was hiding there. He might have even, in fact, spawned blue and I just didn't notice. But that's sort of why I thought that blue would be safe. So now my teammate's getting pushed at blue bubble, he's alone. And to go off on that spawn system, I spawned bottom red, which is away from the enemy. And not near my teammate because my teammate's getting pushed. And it's my responsibility off spawn to rush to my teammate and try and help him get 2 of these kills. My teammate manages to get a kill and a trade, which is actually really big. He managed to do that like on a 1v2 situation, and I get the plasma pistol again, and I'm gonna go top middle right away because I know the camouflage is coming up because 2 minutes have spawned since the last one. I see one enemy at blue, and at this point I'm not actually aware of where the other enemy is. I'm just focused on this guy in blue. I hear a couple shots behind me, so it's evident that the other enemy was shooting me from car 2. In retrospect, I probably could have stayed fighting the car 2 guy. I could have stayed top middle because I wasn't really in danger from being killed from the blue 2 guy. But instead I ran to P2 and ended up just getting caught in the open. So that's my bad. And especially bad because that was the time that camouflage could be up and I couldn't help my teammate. Unfortunately though, it looks like my teammate was on P1 at the time and he's going to be able to get the burn on this camouflage, which is big, and that means we have the burn, we have the time, we know it's going to come up 2 minutes from now, and I spawned red carbine. I'm going to have to go to red pink to look at camouflage to see if it's still there. I see 2 of them, but luckily they're not double teaming me too quickly. I have time to kill one independently, and then I see the other person around at red Eli, and by that time my teammate is able to come help me. So that's really a good job on my teammate's part. He spawned at blue base, which is the complete opposite side of the map of where I am, but he managed to rush his butt all the way to red pink and help me with this guy on the Eli. Here's another situation. So my teammate is going to go to P2, and it looks like he's shooting at someone who might be car 2, maybe can become from blue carbine to blue car. And so I'm at red base, so I'm going to look at red carbine and see if I can get a couple pot shots from my angle, and we can pressure these guys at blue bubble. Once we get 1 kill, my teammate's going to come with me, and it looks like this other enemy is stuck in the lift. The teammate and I were both going up and down trying to get to this guy in the lift, and we have taken so long. I team-named my teammate by accident. And the initial guy that we first killed is going to show up on car 1, so he rushed to help his teammate, and he manages to kill me, which is unfortunate. My teammate kills him, but it would have been better if we had gotten those kills sooner. So I will spawn away from my teammate at red 1, and by the time I'm even at the front of the base, I see my teammate's already dead, so at this point it's not even worth me going over to avenge him. I don't have enough information, and I don't have the advantage, so I'm just going to wait and hang out by red pink instead. So now that we're both at pink, I assume both enemies are both around car. I see a couple gunfire shots from 2 different sources, so that tells me that they both are indeed at car. I see one person at red car, and my teammate's kind of by me. And it looks like the other enemy went to blue car, so my teammate's like trying to shoot him. So yeah, instead of fighting 1v1s, I'm going to rush to my teammate's help at blue pink, and we're going to try and get this guy on blue 1. Unfortunately, this blue 1 guy gets me with a nade or 2, and we're not able to kill him quick enough. As you see me looking for him, my teammate's looking for him too, and now the battle has changed. So I see one enemy at going into red one, and I see he's blinking, so he's super weak, but I can't finish him off. The other enemy's on P2. I'm trying to help out my teammate. I even try a thrust jump to try and be nifty, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. And I see one, I get one finish, and I see the camel's up. So one enemy is on the camel, and this is a big kill. If I get this kill, that's big, because that means a burn, which is the second best scenario. And I do, which is fortunate. We see the game slow down a bit as that happens right after the camouflage play, and my teammate is next to me on blue-pink street, and I see one enemy on the other side of the map at Carbine. Carbine 1 specifically. Based on that knowledge of knowing where 3 of the 4 players on the map are, I'm going to make an assumption and say that the remaining enemy player is either also at Carbine, or he might even be trying to creep over at Red too. So I'm going to go over to Red-Pink and see if I can get a cut off and help my teammate. So it turns out that the enemy is in fact in red car attic, and I choose to go for a stick here. A couple reasons for this. One is that it's fun. I just like doing that. But the more important reason is that it minimizes the time that he has to react, because at this point in time, he doesn't know that I'm there. If I start shooting him, he's going to turn around, and it's possible that he can 5 me really quickly, and I might miss shots, and I'm going to lose that battle. But with a grenade beforehand, a plasma grenade or a frag grenade, it gives myself the maximum advantage of the element of surprise that I had. While I'm in this exchange, I see my teammate has lost the battle top middle, which is unfortunate, and it's now me at red 2 versus this enemy on top middle. My teammate is going to spawn next to me on red 2, and we're both going to look at top middle. My teammate's going to look at it from the pink angle, but we're both looking at top middle to try and get rid of that top middle enemy. And I'm also probably calling out that the remaining player is on Carbine 2 because I saw him earlier. So I'm going to let my teammate use the P2 angle and try and pin them down at Carbine 2. While he's doing that, while he's shooting and distracting the enemies, I'm going to go to red side Carbine, and I'm going to get at least one of them. Because I know one of them's on Carbine too. It turns out that the other enemy also spawns on blue bubble, and so we ended up having to fight 2 people there at the same time. So my teammate is going to end up at blue 2, and you can see the game slow down a little bit, but both me and my teammate, or at least me, we're both looking at where the enemy could spawn. They're going to spawn as far away as possible from us, and that leaves the remaining spawn at red side. And you can see there's one enemy going to be on red-pink, so we were right. We also see the other enemy top middle somehow, and I'm going to call that out to my teammate. My teammate's going to drop down and milk as long as possible. That means try and stay alive as long as possible while I go and try to get into position and get that guy who was initially top mid. Another enemy, I see him on red window, he must spawn there. He just does like a weird push bottom middle. You can tell that the enemy team's getting a little more aggressive, a little more undisciplined, you could say as well, based on the score as well. We have a 8-kill league, and we're just kind of winning our gunfights. It's not looking good for blue team right now. On the other hand, though, I completely forgot about camo at this point. Luckily, my teammate didn't. But if you see this exchange at pink 1, both the blue team managed to get a 2-for-0 trade on us, so the game's not totally over. To stop this bit of momentum, me and my teammate, we're slower off spawn. We make sure we're doing something together and make sure we're not getting singled out and not giving away free kills. And it ends up working on one guy at car 2, and there's another enemy on red 2 who we will kill at some point. And now the score is 23-14, and that is a much harder battle to deal with compared to 21-14. At this point in the game for us, with only 2 kills to go, I can tell that we're not really, me and my teammate aren't communicating as much, just we don't feel like it's necessary. We only need 1 kill and they need 10 more, so it's like, it's a big hassle for them to get 10 more. In a super serious game, I imagine that wouldn't be the case. We'd probably be more disciplined and focus on one player, but it is what it is. We'll just watch the rest of this game unfold. I see the lights on P2 to let me know that there's at least one enemy in there, and a trade is fine. So I would say the biggest takeaways of this game are threefold. First off, the camouflage that showed up in the beginning of the match and every 2 minutes after that. I don't think anyone got camouflage. I think they were all burns, but it it was important to be aware of because every 2 minutes there was a fight around that area. And who knows what could have happened if the enemy team had gotten camo. That could have been another 2 kill swing, and that's a different game that we're playing. Second of all, it was being aware of spawns. I think the teammate and I did a good job of isolating areas and being aware of where the enemy team was going to be spawning. I pointed out a mistake at the beginning where there's an enemy hiding in blue base that I wasn't aware of. And just in general, knowing spawns is it's a very important part of Halo. It's one of the key things that's going to transform your game to the next level. An exercise that you can do just on your own is when you're like playing matchmaking is try and predict where you're going to spawn when you die. Eventually, you'll get pretty good at that, and you'll find that you'll spawn either next to a teammate or away from the enemy. It's always going to be one of those situations. Another hand in spawning is knowing when to help and when to not help. If you want to help, then you have to fly right away, but if you determine that it's wise to not, then you have to decide that right away as well. You kind of get a feel for whether or not your presence is going to help there, and that generally comes from the communication part of it and how much information you have going into the fight. If you don't know, I tend to go on the conservative side and just don't push, but different players have different styles, so it's whatever they like. And so that is it. That has been my commentary on gameplay by AramisRW and commentary by AramisRW. That is me on a Truth 2v2 HCS style. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've, at the very least, enjoyed yourself watching me play. I hope to do this again, maybe with someone else. We'll see how that goes. On behalf of Vancouver Halo, thank you for watching. Take care.